Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Reading in the Dark. My name is Byron, and I read. Sometimes. This video is going to be my holiday TBR. What's that, you say? Holidays? Isn't it November? Yes, except for the fact that I don't believe in November, so we're skipping it. Cheers. On that topic, something else I'm skipping in November is alcohol. So I made this lovely mocktail that my boyfriend came up with, which is basically pomegranate juice, ginger beer, and more frozen pomegranate juice. And it satisfies my need to drink something pretty and cold, so we usually make it in these champagne glasses, which are really good at breaking. So I live in Orlando, where basically there are 3 seasons. We have summer, Halloween, and we have Christmas. Because of the theme parks, Christmas starts very, very early. I've been rehearsing stuff for the Christmas season for work since before Halloween, and you just kind of get used to it. I'm also just really not a fan of Thanksgiving, so I tend to take down the Halloween decorations, wait about a week, and then put up the Christmas ones, which is what started happening today. It's a little bit late for a November TBR, and it's a little bit early for a December/holidays TBR, but I thought, you know, I'm essentially mixing Halloween and Christmas together in my life. Maybe I should just blur the lines even more and make a TBR for both at the same time. Here we are. It is November 10th in my world. Probably the 12th when I'm posting this, I think. Nope, it is literally November 12th. I'm making a TBR for November and December, so let's dive in. Hester by Laurie, Lico, Albanese. So basically in the blurb it says it's about a young woman named Isabel. She and her husband come from Scotland. Her husband is an apothecary who has fallen under the spell of opium. He's in debt, and her husband leaves on a ship as a medic, so she's sort of left alone. This is an historical fiction novel about a woman who meets historical Nathaniel Hawthorne and becomes his muse as he is writing The Scarlet Letter. I find that really interesting because it just came out in October. It was on October 4th, the day before my birthday, and I just read The Scarlet Letter for the first time. So this has been making the rounds. It's got a 4.11 on Goodreads. It's 336 pages. I'm really excited about the fact that it's historical. I'm excited about the fact that it sort of tells a supposed background on him writing The Scarlet Letter, and the fact that it has a really good rating of 4.11 on Goodreads. So that is Hester by Laurie, Lico, Albanese. The next book I want to read is The Witches by Stacy Schiff. This has been on my list for a few years, and it is a big, chunky nonfiction book about the Salem witch trials. I am a little intimidated because it's nonfiction, but it's a topic I'm really interested in, because I think the witch trials, if you can call them that, in Salem are a really interesting sort of microcosm of the way the patriarchy is terrified of intelligent and or skilled women. And especially in the olden days, people who were helping people, either medically or in any other way, using science, may have been towing the line where it seemed like it was magic, when in fact it was just science. I find that really interesting, and the idea that a woman couldn't be wise and skilled in that way without being in some way in league with Satan is really interesting, and a really sad commentary on our society, and I don't think very much has changed. Now, getting us into something that is a little bit more wintry, and another book that's of course creepy and thrilling and not sweet, but does have to do with snow. So that's a very holiday-esque precipitation, and again, it's only November, so. Is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waubgeshig Rice. This novel is described as a post-apocalyptic thriller set on a reservation in northern Ontario, where the community is rather isolated from the rest of the world on the reservation, and then one day in the middle of winter, all of the power goes out and they lose cell service. So they're very cut off from the rest of the world at this point. One by one, more and more people start arriving from the south, from the crumbling remains of society, for shelter, essentially, needing to be let in. And the more and more of them that arrive, the newcomers start to slowly sort of wrest control of the reservation. Guided through the chaos by an unlikely leader named Evan Whitesky, they endeavor to restore order while grappling with a grave decision. So this is post-apocalyptic. It's going to be about factions of people and choosing sides and trusting people or not trusting people. It sounds vaguely dystopian, which is not something that I usually respond well to, because I feel like they're all very, very similar to one another. Like, all of the books that I've read have felt very same to me, even though they're nothing alike. I didn't like Bird Box, I didn't like Blindness, but this one seems different. and it's only 213 pages. I also really wanted to read a book by a First Nations author, and I wanted to read a book that was set in like a snowy environment. This will be a really good way for me to like kind of get into the holiday vibe by way of the back door of a dystopian post-apocalyptic thriller that happens to be set during the winter. I guess will be enough to make them connect. I hope it's going to be the post-apocalyptic novel that helps me to turn a corner and enjoy dystopian, because so far I have not done well with that genre, but I'm hoping this will be the book that helps me to like it. At which point it will be time for me to double back to Murder, She Wrote and read number 11, back to number 11, A Little Yuletide Murder. Murder, She Wrote to the rescue. I am going to be reading this book. So this book I skipped over many, many months ago because it was set at Christmas time, and I was like, no, I'm gonna read that at Christmas time. So it's now finally time to read it. Oh yeah, we've got a house, a skull face in a house. I just love how dedicated they are to putting scary skull faces on the cover of every book in front of the promotional still of our Lord and Savior, Angela Lansbury, may she rest in peace. I don't even honestly need to know what this book is about, but let's just look up the blurb and find out anyway. These, whatever you want to call it, book descriptions, synopses, whatever, for these Murder, She Wrote books are amazing. Are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. A Little Yuletide Murder by Jessica Fletcher and Donald Bain. It's beginning to look a lot like murder. Jessica Fletcher is planning to spend a cozy Christmas at home in Cabot Cove. This year, she's not on the circuit being interviewed about her latest novel or autographing copies at local bookstores. But when Rory Brent is found shot to death on his farm just out of town, my God, there will be no peace on earth until his killer is found. Snooping into Cabot Cove's past for a motive, Jessica is determined to deliver the killer before Christmas. The trouble is, the next sound she might hear this silent night may be a scream. Her own. ... Who wrote that? She's going to deliver the killer before Christmas. Cool. So, Yuletide Murder. This one will be a 100% absolutely will get read title. The penultimate book on my list is Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. I actually got this book from NetGalley like a year ago and didn't read it because it wasn't Christmas time. I don't know why I took the book if I didn't want to read it because of the season. Anyway, I still haven't read it or reviewed it, so I have to read this book and then like review it so that like NetGalley will let me continue to exist. It's got a really cute cover, as you can see. It's 1985 in a small Irish town. During the weeks leading up to Christmas, Bill Furlong, a coal merchant and family man, faces into his busiest season. Early one morning, while delivering an order to the local convent, Bill makes a discovery which forces him to confront both his past and the complicit silences of a town controlled by the church. Oh my. I don't know anything about this book other than what I just read to you and the fact that I got it from NetGalley. So it's been out now for over a year. It was published on November 30th, 2021. It has a 4.21. It is 118 pages. This sounds fascinating. Sounds like a mystery. I don't know why it took me this long to seriously take a look at this. I was supposed to read this a long time ago. The last book on my list is actually not a book. It's like a whole concept. So I have this lovely hardcover edition of this book, Christmas Stories of Charles Dickens, and I read A Christmas Carol years ago on my Kindle, and then I think I read it again, and then I read it in here, and then I read The Chimes in here a couple years ago, and I don't think I picked this book up at all last year. There's 3 other stories that I have not read, and I really want to get to at least one new one this year. I want to get to The Cricket on the Hearth, and then there's also The Battle of Life and The Haunted Man. So essentially what I'm saying to you is I'm also going to read some of these short stories by Charles Dickens, but exactly which ones and when, it's very up in the air. So those are all of the books that I hope to read this holiday season between the months of November and December. I'm very excited about all of them. I realize this video is going to seem kind of early to a lot of people, but for me, it is not, because name a Thanksgiving book. I'll wait. Except actually don't, because I don't want to read those. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, please leave them in the comment box below. It is your friend, unless you just want to write something mean, in which case, have a Merry Christmas. So that's my video. I'm running out of battery. I'm going to see you all in the next video. Until next time, I will be here in the dark, reading.